Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another episode of Factory Town here on Your Professional Walkthroughs channel with me, your host Max. So continuing the previous episode, we're going to be taking a look at the campaign scenario level 3. We have already started this, so let's jump into it and see if we can fulfill the remaining goals, or if this is going to have to take another 2 parts or how many in order to actually fulfill this. As shockingly enough, if you would pick up the game and you would try to fulfill these scenarios, just the scenario level 2, once you fulfill it, will give you an achievement on Steam which will tell you that less than 10% of the entire player base does have it. Meaning, either not too many people are concerned with the campaign, or not that many people are actually even considering playing it. I'm not really sure, but it's an interesting thing to consider. So let's jump into it and see what we can find. So if you do not recall the previous episode because you have missed it for some unfortunate reason, do not worry, I'm gonna feature a link for you in the video's description, as per usual with the playlist. And we have this outward sector where we have 2 farms. One is set up for production of tomatoes and grain. We have our food mill, which is responsible for providing us with flour and the animal feed. Then we have this upgraded pasture, which is responsible right now for milk, fertilizer, and wool production. And as you can see, we have already this fertilizer being redistributed amongst these 2 farms. So we have set this up, and we have this raised bridge over here so that these carts are capable of traveling underneath. However, if I would want to actually get the additional potential forms of transportation, such as caravan, that might not actually be able to fit underneath, so we would need to raise it up even higher, which would create a bunch of issues, but hopefully we will not have to deal with that. Now, it looks like the tree planters might have worked for some of these places, and we have therefore potentially upgraded the overall performance. We have the capability to even upgrade the pasture, and that is something which I do not have a problem with, so we can do that, and hopefully that will increase the output of what this farm is capable of, as we do require milk in order to start making butter. Once we gain access to things such as kitchen, then we're gonna be able to start cooking up that fish stew, because we will have access to tomatoes and we will have access to cooked fish, hopefully, one of these days. Now, for that, we, however, will require also access to some coal, as wood is a good source of fire material or fuel, but nothing beats the good old coal. So yeah, you can also use fertilizer and even magma I have seen as a potential resource, but I have not seen it accessible on this specific scenario, so therefore I cannot really guarantee as to how that would work out. Now, in order for us to finish this scenario, we need to make 50 fish stew, we need to make 50 metal conveyor belts, we need to make 50 metal railings, we need to construct 1 mine and 1 fishery, so that we can have a better proficiency at farming on or harvesting the fish. However, the fish has the highest concentration over in here, and I'm not really sure if the fishery will have the range for this, so it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work out, or if we're going to have to rely on more fish in order to provide us, or more boats, sorry, to provide us with the access to that resource, because currently all our fish is being stored in the market so that we can actually increase the overall happiness. However, once we want to increase the overall effectiveness and happiness, we're gonna have to switch up to the cook fish, so that the fish itself cannot be any more transferred into the food market. Or theoretically, we will have a second fishery so that one is responsible just for delivering the raw fish, and the other one will be responsible for creation of the fish stew. Now it seems like we have one cart which is not actually performing any task, which is good for me to know, and then we have access to some new research, and we're going to start off with construction of kitchen. Now I have actually in my spare time constructed a tavern, but tavern is different from a kitchen because I initially thought that if you would have kitchen and adjacent building would be tavern, or it would be able to be connected, the tavern would be able to sell maybe something else, but tavern is only able to, for some reason, provide access to things like apple jam or grape jelly or what you want to call it. So it doesn't really do the job which I would like it to do. That is kind of weird, but hopefully we're going to be able to start building the kitchen somewhere, and I need to find a really decent spot for the kitchen. Reason why I say decent spot is that we will need to provide the tomatoes, we will need to provide the fuel, and we will need to provide a couple of more things. Now, how do we want to do this? That is a good question, as we have a potential source of fuel over here. But if I would build the kitchen somewhere around here, we would kind of run into the trouble that the roads aren't as thick as they potentially can be, and therefore our logistics would suffer a bit too much. That is why I do suggest you to build these at least 2 rows wide roads, so that you do not have issues with your carts actually being stuck on some sort of location, or if they bounce around against one another, then the one has to travel across this weird location or weird destination. Okay, so wooden railways, those are awesome because they provide access to wooden minecarts, and these things are able to deliver a large quantity of raw ingredients, and therefore if we have something far off like these carrots, they can be actually delivered because the minecarts are capable of going uphill. When they go downhill, they'll pick up quite the speed in order to deliver them to the buildings which we will require. Now, I was thinking that maybe, just maybe, we can build the kitchen somewhere around these parts so we can provide access to resources such as coal. But what would be the most efficient use of that? That is a good question, truly indeed. And we are going to also have to make sure that in our workshop, we're going to be able to actually make these wooden rails. So we're going to need access to resources such as stone and also plank. And also we're going to need to be able to pick it up. So we are going to actually go ahead and start collecting stone from here and dropping it off over here. And then we're going to pick up the rails and drop them off at the town center. Now right now, some of these carts are just going to be stationary here because it's going to take a while for our workers to produce these resources. But if I'm correct, then the planks and everything should be able to be delivered into this location. And the minecarts are capable of filtering out resources which you want to take, so you can have multiple drop-off points which are going to be able to deliver the resource. So for example, if I would make a circuit around here and I would want to have like 6 carts, we can actually select 2 for coal, 2 for stone, and 2 for iron here, which is gonna be simply enough for us. Now, I'm not really sure if I need to actually go to the additional island, as I do not know what sort of benefit it would provide me with. I do have plenty of stuff over here, and this coal is quite actually large deposit because, as you can see, each one of these tiles has like over 300 pieces of coal in it, so it's quite actually plentiful as a resource. It's much easier for you to burn through your wooden reserve. That is if you do not use, for example, a forester. If you would just simply have access to your people depleting these trees, then of course it's gonna look a bit different. So wooden rails are being processed. We can do boat building because we have access to the knowledge, and to the gold, and we can do the intermittent logistics, which are going to help us out as well. And then we have access to the cloth conveyor belt, and the cloth conveyor belt is just your wooden conveyor belt. However, this thing actually allows you to deliver the resources a tiny bit faster. So that's the difference which you get with upgrading your conveyor belts. You get an upgraded speed. So think of games like Factorio. That is the perfect resemblance to what you might expect of this. I suck at Factorio, so I'm actually surprised I'm able to pull off what I'm able to pull off in this game, but we all have our own limitations and capabilities, so we're gonna see how successful can we become when it comes to this game overall. We can even further expand the tomato growth capabilities of this farm, because we can simply do so, and that way we are going to be able to deliver even more crops. So let's do this at least. This is going to greatly expand our capabilities, and hopefully I was at least hoping it would be able to tap into the current situation with how much it's actually producing when it comes to grain and tomato itself. Those 2 cards have been used up for the production here. So we really cannot increase the pace at which we are taking out these resources. So maybe, just maybe, we might be able to build the kitchen somewhere around these parts in order for us to start making the fish stew. So we might have to relocate it, we might not. Hard to tell. Right now I'm deciding to go over here, and in order for us to make a couple of things, we will require fuel. As you can see, fertilizer, wood, coal, and magma can be used, out of which coal is now the most optimal choice, and magma I have not seen yet, so I don't know how to obtain it as of now. We can then make cooked beef, cooked chicken, cooked fish, which we will of course maybe require, and then there is the fish stew, which we need to find, and that is over here. So we will require seriously pre-cooked fish into a fish stew. That must be disgusting. So we will require butter, and butter will only be turned into or from milk. One amazing thing which I actually discovered, and this was completely by freaking accident, because all I wanted to do is deliver the water from this point to this farm, and when I actually connected the pipeline, it actually started to transfer the milk as a liquid. So what I'm thinking is that maybe we might be capable of delivering the milk over here. And as you can see, the milk is actually on its way. So now we're going to have access to butter production already, because the milk, which is being made here, is going to be able to be transferred. Now, water should not be an issue, so I'm kind of wondering what the hell is going on, because water is actually supplied to this building. So, what the actual funk? Maybe I can try to demolish. I don't know what the mining layer does yet, so I don't want to screw up too much with that. What if I would want to delete these? And now we are gonna reconnect those. Is that gonna help increase the water input? It should do so. And that should in return increase the amount of milk which should be flowing into our lovely kitchen as is. So butter production is on its way. Now we are gonna have to establish means to deliver the fish from point A to point B. These carts are awesome, but going up this hill is not the most optimal thing. And so we're gonna have to come up with some sort of alternative. But for now, that will have to do. So what I'm thinking, if we're gonna be able to make these boats somehow, how can we tap into this? And we will require actually the fishery, but for fishery you will require research, which will require nature research points, and that will be kind of problematic because based on my experience you will require access to herbs in order to be studied. So this thing over here, that is what we will require. And right now I see only these 2 islands which do contain it, but luckily for us it's not really that much of a trouble because we can actually plant the herbs. So we can actually utilize 1 farm to maintain 2 crops. So we can go ahead, plant the herbs over here, and they're gonna have a nice, decent spot to grow. We're just gonna have to connect our road somehow to this barn or to this farm specifically so that it can be processed, and once the herbs are done too, we are going to be able to start harvesting those as well. So if I am correct, the milk will stop flowing because, well, obvious reasons, the butter is being utilized, but we need access to fish, so we will require to make cooked fish. I still don't understand why I need to put cooked fish into a fish stew. I would actually think it would dry out like crazy, but what do I know? Okay, one of these is delivering to the town center. So you are actually, my dear friend, gonna be now responsible for picking this up and dropping it off over here. At least until we can create the surplus of what we need. And we are gonna need to acquire some sort of coal deposit to be delivered in order to supply this building, which is why I was considering maybe building it over here. Would also not be the worst case scenario, but I'm an idiot, so I have decided to already allocate the building over here. Theoretically, in the meantime, if I do really want to, I can actually sell the butter for quite a lovely chunk of profit, and I would also improve the overall happiness of my population. But we have like 12 more people to be obtained, and we have 2 more houses that can be constructed, so I don't see the point right now in doing that. So what I want to do is somehow tap into this coal, and that is gonna be kind of interesting. Is I would love to deliver the coal as close as possible to the conveyor, to the kitchen by a conveyor belt or technology of such nature. Also, funniest thing is you can actually select recipes such as this, and this way the forester is capable of not only chopping down trees, but also harvesting these apples without actually demolishing the trees. So they remain here, and the apples can be constantly harvested without you having to worry that one of these days they're gonna actually disappear on you. So how do we want to do this? We're gonna need people to actually gather this because we do not have right now access to anything which would surpass that capability. It's quite possible I might have to delete these trees over here. And in order to build the conveyor belt, do we have access to the cloth conveyor belt? No, not really. We have access to quite a lot of wooden conveyor belt. This thing will require a cloth conveyor belt, this, in order to build it. So theoretically, we can actually deliver the goods back over here. So this thing will actually stop delivering them, and it can actually pick them up and drop them off back in here. I know it seems kind of idiotic, but we do have an abundance of a surplus of this resource. And I would rather actually have the more proficient conveyor belt accessible to me if I'm to construct this. Meaning, if we would be able to provide sufficient quantity of cotton or linen to this building, it should be doable. The question is if we are actually even providing a quantity that is required. For some reason... What happened here? Why aren't you processing? I'm kind of confused what the hell happened here. Why did you switch off the goddamn cotton production? Yeah, this is something which the game has an obvious bug. It's a bug. It has to be. It just sometimes when you keep selecting or adding additional things, it will just deselect everything else and just completely F up your entire production. And then you just have to keep wondering what the hell has gone wrong. So we're going to try to do this. We're going to see, what if I actually cancel wooden conveyor belt construction? And instead we're going to just rely on this as our potential. And then we're going to actually need to take the cloth conveyor belt and right now pick it up like this. Okay, the stone has been picked up. How much stone do we have in a reserve? Quite a lot, actually. So that's awesome. We need stone in here in order to do a wooden rail. So let's keep this chain going. Can theoretically try to squeeze in a house, but it's not gonna work over here, unfortunately. Building it over here might be a bit annoying because in order to level up or make the ground leveled in order for the house to be constructed here, we would need to build these sort of tiles in order to accommodate the house on top. As you can see, it works. And because it's connected to the road, it should be eligible to get all the necessary goodies from the general store and the food market on top of it. Okay, so if we are starting to create the cloth conveyor belt, I will need to determine some sort of a path which it needs to follow from now on. So we can theoretically follow this path, which then it needs to make a turn somewhere around here so that we can actually give it to the structure. Now, building an elevated supply chain would be probably preferred option. However, right now I'm not really sure how to process some of these things. Okay, we are gonna have to build one of you, and you need to start delivering this over there. So if the conveyor belt is going to actually function as intended, it seems like we're going to have more of a shortage of fish than the fuel itself. But hopefully that is far away from what we need to be bothered with right now. The problem is the pace at which we keep processing these conveyor belts and how long does it take for us to get them. So I'm gonna actually make it through the field or through the farm because we have such a high capacity. We can actually put down 5 people. We can do this. This is gonna allow us to start researching metallurgy, fishery, basic medicine, civics level 2, and lab. And as you will be able to see, if we are gonna go into the research, in order to gain access to some of these things, we are going to require this nature technology. And so for that specifically, we will need to study in the school these books which actually do contain this. So in order for us to actually make those, we are going to have to... I don't know if it's right now in the laboratory or where it is, but you need to combine books with actual herbs in order for it to count for the research. Okay, so conveyor belt. So it's kind of zigzaggy all over up in here, but I don't kind of care. My goal is to try and supply this structure. So optimally, if we can run it somewhere through here, that would be just awesome. Problem is the pace at which we keep processing these conveyor belts. The person responsible for carrying them is just simply unable to keep up with my demand for construction. So most likely what's gonna happen is I'm gonna cancel her or him, and instead we're gonna build a wagon, and that is gonna be responsible for carrying these resources at faster pace, because instead of just one, we are taking 4 at a time. So a couple of roads, and we're gonna be able to extend the amount of the road or these conveyor belt, which we do need in order to make this a successful operation. I do not actually mind turning all of my wooden conveyor belts stored over here into the wool or cloth conveyor belts, because they are just working a much faster pace in comparison to the other things. Okay, we can even increase further the amount of people that can go into the farm. That's interesting. But I want to actually just follow up on this. I would prefer if I would not demolish the pear farm which we can have here. But it's gonna also make it a little bit more annoying for us to get down around this. We can do it like this. So you can see that the conveyor belt is slightly elevated above the ground. We're gonna clear out a passage through here so that some of these trees will not be in the way. But that's perfectly acceptable. Because physically nobody needs to actually go and interact with the tree. And if we're gonna be truly desperate, then we can just go ahead and build these planters. But of course I would need to pick up some of this fertilizer first, as we do not have any stored in our base. So theoretically I can actually do that. We do have more carts which can be utilized for a set purpose, so let's go and do that. And the conveyor belt is gonna have to continue, and I'm gonna have to elevate it somehow above here, above this road. And I would like to do it so that it goes at least 3 tiles above. Now it looks like we are missing the conveyor belts, or something is obstructing this. But I do wonder as to why. Maybe we do need to build the elevation or something. I'm not right now sure. So if I were to start already. If I were to start deleting these trees. We can do this. We can do this. Fill in these tiles, such as this. Keep on constructing these platforms, because we do have access to the wooden planks. And the question is, how high do we need to get? Yep, we should go even up more. Like this. And if executed correctly... Nope, that's too damn far. Maybe one more tile. Let's elevate it as such, and let's see if this is gonna do what I need it to do. Damn it! Why don't you want to cooperate? Okay, we're gonna have to make a turn here. So that it can go through here and deliver it like so. Therefore, we are gonna make it that you go through this. Let's go even higher, just to be on the safe side. Elevate this like so. We're gonna build this up over here. And then now, we are gonna be able to go like this. And delete these. Nope, we need to turn around this one to go like so. theoretically... Hold on. Hold on. I'm thinking. That's really dangerous. If I'm thinking, everyone beware. If I would actually start the turn over here. And if you would move away so that this can be constructed like here. This one needs to be removed. Now the conveyor belt should be, damn it, able to reach. Let's see. I would really like it if this can remain a 3-tile wide construction. Seems to be so. And if we were to build it like this, then the coal should be able to be delivered successfully. Okay, so... we're still missing a couple of pieces. But I think this is gonna work. One more. Come on. Come on. Come on, I've got things to build and fish stew to prepare. Okay, so now, the big question is, can you actually drop off the coal here? Or do I have to redo this whole damn project? The coal is on its way, and it's gonna take a while to reach its destination, but thanks to the fact that it has to travel such a long road, by the time it actually reaches this position, we should have a wide range of supplies provided. Yeah, this is exactly what I was afraid of. I don't know if we can actually extend this. It seems we can. Which is weird, but I'll take it. So the fish can be picked up and dropped off over moi. So let's see how these two fellas are gonna be able to cooperate, or if they're gonna be doing this sort of weird stuff. Because they have nothing better to do than to bother me. They don't seem to have enough stone or something to do these sort of weird staircases, so whatever. The fuel should be actually able to be dropped off, so I don't understand what the hell is going on. So let's try it like this. Let's try to build the conveyor belt like so and like so. Come on, dude. We need the fuel. So, what the hell? Okay, we're gonna need to go for... this may be a grabber? Coal. Is it gonna work? Son of a biscuit. This is really pissing me off. This should work, definitely, in order for us to drop this thing off in here. Why is it not taking the stupid coal in? Should I try... is it too high? Maybe that's the issue. Okay, what if we do this? Do the conveyor belt and... well, bam! Okay! So it looks like we were too high and we weren't simply able to give anything over at that point. But we now have an achievement called the Fish Stew. The Fish Stew is officially being on its way to success. So that is one of these remarkable goals which we will need to reach. And the coolest thing is we can actually just grab the fish stew from here then with one of these carts. Or what are they called? And that thing is just going to be able to pick this up, drop it off over here, and fish stew gives us, what does it give us? If I can even find something like a fish stew. Seriously, I can't find anything like fish stew in here. Interesting. Maybe I will require the tavern. Maybe the tavern will have access to these sort of weird recipes. Tavern? So that we can sell it? Let's see. Yeah, fish stew and the jams. Okay, and sandwiches too. So you're gonna be responsible for supplying the tavern, which is now gonna supply everything else. And now we can pick up a specialization. We can go with a commerce, because that is the only thing which it's giving to me as a potential option. So there's that. Okay, so awesome stuff. We are now officially fulfilling our initial goal of trying to do the fish stew. So that's one of 2 for 6 goals to be reached in this game. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Really ecstatic. How do we, however, transfer the herbs without using manual labor is gonna be interesting. We're gonna need, where is this goddamn thing? Lab, if I recall correctly. Yeah, so this thing will give us access to industrial knowledge and the medicinal knowledge. We can do metallurgy, and we can do even civics too, so houses can be upgraded further, and so can our town center once we reach a certain amount of happiness and all that other BS. So everyone seems to be now ever more happy. We get 25 gold per fish stew, quite a lot of experience, and 2 points of happiness. And I'm kind of ecstatic with that as a potential. Now the whole thing is crumbling on the delivery of our friendly fish. I kind of want to keep the fish in just because it's the additional point of happiness, so we don't jump up and down like a bunch of dum-dums. Now, where is the lab? So I want to build it close to our source of herbs, because this thing will require, in order for us to function, access to books and access to herbs. Now, we have access to herbs. We don't have access to iron as of yet, but that is gonna be achievable. We are gonna require to construct this, and we're gonna need to gain somehow these books from this location, but the production of books here is like all over the damn place, so we are constantly running low on probably something which is then able to be turned into what we need, including, yeah, we're constantly low on linen. If we can somehow provide a supply chain that would be able to supply this place with linen, haha, all of our problems would be answered. However, I feel like a second workshop is gonna be necessary in order for this to function. So for us to make a book, we're gonna require access to paper, and we're gonna require access to cloth. Now, good for us is that we do have access here to paper. We're gonna turn off the fluid pipes production. We don't need that anymore, but we don't have access to water, so we're gonna need to change that, which is kind of idiotic because I'm gonna use exactly the pipes. No, don't take the freaking milk, Jesus, son of a... Ah, why do you have to do this? Don't do this. God, I hate it when this happens. I'm gonna have to connect this a different way. Completely bypassing the stupid farm, or this is never gonna end well. So once water starts to come in, we're gonna have access to paper. Because we have access to the linen here, it's gonna be reasonable for us to construct a workshop, for which we cannot do because we have a lack of stone. So this thing has actually completely run us dry from our stone reserves, which is awesome. Have we been making any freaking... Yeah, we're gonna need to get more people. Start mining, please. So once this is done, you can go bye-bye for now. The pipes are not really gonna be necessary right now, so we can put this cart over here. This is right now not necessary to be here. We can even theoretically bypass this and construct the road through here so that they have an alternative route. And this thing will require the natural knowledge. Now, how the hell do we make it so that we can have access to what we need? Okay, a cart. A cart over here is going to be responsible for picking up the herbs and dropping it off over there, which means I will want to build a road like so that it can go down, pick it up, and then go up and drop it off. And do the same, and do the same. So the herb production, that's a-okay. A bigger problem is going to be having access to the books. So we need the workshop. Second workshop. I don't think just a single workshop will do the trick, unfortunately. And we're gonna go with a book. And for that, it would be awesome if we can somehow provide the paper to the structure. Which makes me wonder if maybe I would delete you and just move you around a bit differently. Workshop. And we're gonna go for the book. And the paper can actually be delivered by the conveyor belt because it's a processed good. Ta-da! And now the paper is on its way. So now all we need is linen, and linen can be dropped off theoretically also by a conveyor belt from here, from this workshop specifically. So I don't know why I'm actually making two workshops here when I can have just one. I don't know. Don't judge me. Half of the time I have no idea what I'm gonna do and if it's gonna work out, so I'm actually kind of surprised it's so far not blown up in my face. And we're gonna do this, and so. Or do we want to extend this even further? We are gonna do this. Like so. And then we're gonna have to somehow... How much is it? 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay. I don't think this is going to work. I'm gonna have to go one more tile. So let's see if we can actually make the supply chain work for me. Like this, and... Okay, and... And the linen is now coming in. Awesome. Alrighty, and so now the question is if we can somehow construct another one of these conveyor gizmos to go above this one so that we can supply the goddamn lab. Theoretically, I can move the actual lab over here and have this cart just travel that much further. It should not be that much of a problem, so let's do that. It's gonna be, I think, a bit more convenient for us. So drop off here. So pick up this and drop it off over moi. We're gonna select this because that's what we're gonna require for the fishery. And I'm gonna probably require the metallurgy too, but we will need to construct a fishery, so let's get this done first. Are you making those books? You know what, let's increase the number of people. We're gonna need to increase the number of houses. It's just if I build it here, I'm gonna kind of block off the mason. Unless I construct it and rotate the building as such. We're gonna construct 2 additional houses. It's gonna help us out a tiny bit. A tiny bit. So now, how do I supply these books to this place? Okay. We're gonna need to apparently put down a grabber. And we're gonna need to select the book. The book. Where's the book? I'm blind. We can actually type it in so I don't have to look for it like a dumbass. Ta-da! What? You should be making books. So? What the actual hell? Come on. Work. Play nice. Is it too low? Yeah, I think that's the problem. Okay, what if we then do this? Oh, now it's working. Okay, that tiny bit of elevation is all that got me totally screwed up. Okay, I can live with this. So now we should be making the natural knowledge books. And guess what? We're gonna need to drop off those freaking books all the way over to the school, because unless we do so, it does not count as nature research points completed. God damn it. Why would you have to overcomplicate things like this? Just come on. Don't make it so damn stupid. If theoretically possible, I could make another conveyor belt which would go along here and somehow connect to the back of the school. But I just think at this point, these carts are gonna be the bloodline of whatever the hell it is that we're making here. Theoretically also, we can actually upgrade the conveyor belt in order to deliver the cotton at faster rate. Because this way, the linen, which is being delivered to multiple destinations, is going to be able to be provided at certain point, certain time. I don't know if we should somehow postpone the production of these books. Maybe I'm going to cut it off afterwards. Right now, what do we need here the linen for? Just your basic books? Okay, screw that. It looks like our production has been kind of bottlenecked here for some time now. So due to the lack of cotton or lack of cloth or lack of stone, we aren't really capable of making just about anything. I don't know how many wooden rails we even have. 233. We can actually stop the production of those. Nobody's gonna miss those. Nobody's gonna miss those. The books are still a-okay because research points are just going up and up, so I don't really mind that. Wooden wheels, yes, cloth, not really necessary for here. When you think about it, we don't need to physically deliver the cloth or the cotton into this position. You do have those things, you do have that, okay. You are trying to pick up fertilizer or something. I don't know why this well isn't capable of producing more water. Maybe I need to connect another well to the water grid. Is this now gonna be functional as additional source of water? This milk is still stuck over here, that's funny. I need some sort of better technology which would allow me to deliver water to these buildings. We have plenty of coal here. I think 2 people right now will be sufficient for the coal delivery system. Although, even if I would completely shut off the coal production, we would be completely fine. We are being bottlenecked by lack of fish. The fish stew is done as is. So the next goal which we need to focus our attention towards is metallurgy. Once that is done, we're going to be able to proceed further than ever before. So all I want to do right now is pick up these books and drop them off over at school so that we have those necessary nature points so that I can build the fishery. And once we are able to build the fishery or study the fishery, that is going to allow me to gain access to it. Basic medicine sounds nice, but I want to really focus on what I need. We're going to have access to forge, we're going to have access to silo, we're going to have access to reinforced plank, wooden axe, pickaxe, steam power, metal railway, mining, machinery, and caravans. And with that, we have access to all sorts of cool stuff. Funniest thing is, we're gonna require again to replicate the process with the study. And that is fine. We're just gonna have to switch out the book production from nature to metal. So we're gonna have to actually establish some sort of metallurgy grid over here where the rail carts can theoretically provide coal to this place where we can smelt then also the metal into ingots and nails and all the other funky stuff which is going to be required, because I feel like, yeah, it's going to be once again a freaking workshop which is going to be responsible for the production of all this junk, so it's going to be funny that way. The 2 books are gonna be almost there, so soon enough we're gonna have access to fishery. 400 research, we are lacking that, which is most unfortunate. So if I could, theoretically, I should pick up these books and drop them off over there so that even the basic knowledge can still be accumulated, because if I construct the fishery, I'm gonna completely deplete my knowledge. And that is something which is gonna affect us negatively. This, I have no idea where this dumbass is going through, but it's really negatively affecting our fish stew production. And just like that, I feel like I have constructed almost nothing, and we have like 50 minutes in already. Time flies by when you have so much fun trying to figure out the mysteries of the Factory Town universe, or some nonsense like that, I don't know. Okay, so, we will require forge. Forge will, of course, require access to certain resources. We will require iron plates, we will require fuel and iron, and we will be able to also make nails. That, in return, can then be turned in one of these workshops into one of these things, which we will require. And, of course, because we will require metal conveyor belts, metal rails, and all the other nonsense, it's gonna take a while. So what I want to do, or see if I can actually do, is construct the goddamn fishery, which should now be a possibility. If I remove this goddamn thing here, and if I remove these trees over here by the school, should give us the capability to build a road to the water. And so we can go down, do a fishery, and the problem is going to be, of course, it having access to 0 fish, because like right now this is what we need to tap into. But I don't know how the hell to build it up in here. Do I need to construct a road that would lead me all the way up in here? Or what's the situation? Can we actually even do so? Wow, we can actually do so. So now, I do wonder if we can follow this. Can you fish? Yes, you can. So they're able to grab the fish, but remember, we will require some sort of delivery system in order to actually get it to the shore. And we can actually use even the basic chute because fish is a raw resource. No, it's not gonna work. Seriously, do I need to do a conveyor belt? That's such a load of BS, but okay. I have not tried constructing on the water, so don't judge me yet. This is also new. And now the fish is on its way. So now we are able to do whatever it is that we need to do with the fish. And with that said, we can turn off the production or turn off the production of this. And therefore the herbs can or do not have to be dropped off over here anymore. Instead, we can deliver them over here because believe it or not, herbs can be actually consumed. And they will give us slight boost, slight happiness, slight income, but it's another resource which we can get rid of. Or thirdly, I can just stop processing this and just leave it as is, and I can just focus my entire attention towards this. Okay, so this is now established. What I would love to do is actually use those railroads, which actually create a whole bunch of problems. That's gonna be like the last thing which I want to do here. So if we would do like a wooden rail, and we would make it... let's do it like this. The problem is going to be actually the fact that our people are incapable of crossing the wooden railroad. So once it's laid down onto the ground, it really cannot be like touched more or dealt with further. It's kind of weird that way. Okay, so what we are gonna do here is have one person dedicated to dropping off the coal here, and then we're gonna be responsible for construction of silos, but you cannot really construct a silo unless you have first access to an iron plate, so that's gonna be kind of annoying. Okay, what if I were to delete you, and instead I would build you the forge, like so that you are so close by. I'm gonna need to construct the minecart, and you can select in which direction these guys go. You can make 4 of them. And you can actually filter which resource they're gonna pick up. So I would prefer if 2 of these guys would pick up solely iron, and 2 of these would pick up solely coal. And you can see that they are fairly limited in what they can actually pick up. So primarily it's good to use these guys for the raw ingredients. We are actually not done here, because in order for these suckers to drop off these resources, we are gonna have to establish the logistics, and we are gonna have to put down a grabber. And we're gonna have to select what resources are actually being dropped off. Is this correct, or am I doing it incorrectly yet again because reasons unspecified? There is a railroad controlled. Okay, so this is it. You need a Minecraft loader and an unloader in order to actually be successful. So this thing should automatically unload everything. And if we were to build the silos, like let's say here, and let's say here, they should be automatically filling these carts with whatever resources are necessary. So we're gonna go and build the mine loader here. A loader here. We're gonna need to actually pick up these things first. So what I will have to do is actually do this, gather these raw resources and supply them to this building. This is why I wanted to remove or leave some sort of way over here so that this smithy or forge or what you want to call it can be accessible. Because if you do not leave it accessible, you're not gonna have a good time. So once we have access to the iron planks, they actually need to be delivered physically to your storage in order for it to be considered as a resource which you can utilize. And of course, we do not have any spare resources, so that's awesome. But at least we have some spare buildings which we can still utilize and so on and such, or spare carts here, so we are still gonna be a-okay. Do we have anything else that is sleeping? Carrying the nails one by one is gonna be such a pain in the ass, especially considering the distance which we are traveling here. But once we have accumulated the iron plates, we're going to be able to start constructing the silos. So silo can be dropped off over here. You can actually supply this here. You can supply this here. So you two are going to be responsible for mining and supplying the iron. And if it's going to work out the way I hope it's going to work out, and you are not going to stand in the way of the train like a total dumbass, you're going to prevent them to start grouping up like this, because God, I hate it when you do that. So hopefully they're not going to get in the road or in the way of our progress. Somewhere in this madness, lots of things are happening. I think we have depleted all of our tomatoes, so theoretically you can just go and pick them up and deliver them over here, because we are sitting on a crap ton of tomatoes. But theoretically, you can even sell them as a raw tomato, although we do have a supply of those already, so let's not do that. So we're gonna need to switch the recipe and make the industrial version, so we're gonna require to gain access to the goddamn iron plates. But right now, I kind of do want the iron plates for the purpose of this small little train carts being processed here. Yeah, you're gonna be annoying with that, aren't you? You're gonna pick that up, you're gonna drop it off here, you're gonna pick that up, drop it off over into this building, not stand on the railroad, because that's gonna just F up the whole damn thing. So now the coal is starting to get loaded, and now everything should get unloaded over here because the trains are just passing by. So you can see that they're going to be dropping it off, all depending on how much stuff we need. And once we have access to the metal ingots, we can drop them off over here to produce the industrial knowledge. The industrial knowledge which we will require in order to make access to metal railways, and eventually the conveyor belts and all this other BS. So that's gonna have to wait for the next episode. I cannot wait. It's gonna take us 3 goddamn episodes just to finish off this next stage of the campaign. Makes you wonder, what the hell will I require to do in order to fulfill the other stages? But that all depends on your support and your feedback. So if you did like the episode, give it a big thumbs up. If you want to see more Factory Town, let me know through the comment section. Give it a big shout out. Let me know what you think of the game. And as per usual, make sure to subscribe, as I publish fun content like this on a weekly basis. And I will see you in the comments or at the next one. Thank you for watching, everyone. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye for now. And I kind of ran out of wooden wheels. That's bad. I'm gonna need to do something regarding that. Ooh, we can upgrade further.